We can go right up to the barn entrance, but if you look right into that barn door right there, you got 8 bulls looking at you right now. My name's Jeff Jones, and I'm the owner-operator of the Jones Angus Farms here in Kingdom City. Great-great-grandfather, my great-grandfather, my grandfather, and my father, 5 and 6 generations deep. And we've had some large concentrated animal feeding operations that moved in right next to our land. In fact, there's one that raises 10,000 sows, and it's 3/10 of a mile from my bedroom window. These are issues that not just we have to deal with, but the next generation has to deal with too.
Missouri Rural Crisis Center started in 1985. We started out of the farm crisis of the 80s, farmers organizing to stay on the farm during a really hard economic time. Sort of our history wall of our founding executive director. He was organizing before MRCC started. MRCC sort of started ad hoc out of farmers organizing to stay on the farm. Our members saw the writing on the wall that the hog marketplace was being industrialized, corporatized, vertically integrated, and taken from them. So it was a really dire time in the 90s for hog producers. So we started Patchwork as an alternative. It was sort of before local food was local food, but it was an alternative to the corporate marketplace. What Patchwork is, we buy hogs from our producers on the hoof. We bring them into small independent meat packing plants, and then we distribute local pork, mostly here in mid-Missouri. So we've got 3 different types of bacon. We've got a pepper bacon, we've got a dry cure bacon, a regular smoked bacon, and then an uncured bacon, spare ribs, butt roast. I mean, every part of the hog, that's when people call, they're like, hey, do you carry this pork product? Yeah, we carry all pork products because we use the whole hog. This is about supporting family farmers and local communities, but it's really about supporting rural economic viability, vibrancy, and development. What we know is that instead of extracting wealth from our communities, we really need to be making sure that wealth stays in our communities. How many hogs is this? 16. Sean picked up 16 hogs yesterday.
Every producer's on a different production schedule, right? So we got, somebody's got 15 hogs this week, somebody doesn't have any for 2 weeks or a month. I got 6 other producers where they can piece in, and we have this kind of flowing, calendar. But because of that, have the products that our customers are looking for, or we can get those specialty cuts, and that diversifies immediately what we can do and where we can sell to. If we just had the one, 200 sow operation where everything's all within a day or 2 of each other, there's going to be those weeks where we don't have anything. A number of producers that frequently sold to farmers markets, and after COVID and stuff like that, there was some drop in their revenue. And because of that, they reached out to us. They're still producing for us now. I mean, they just completely switched and said, okay, well, this is way easier. We can make money doing this, and we have way less overhead because they're not sending their products to their own processors, getting all of their labeling made, etc., and packaging. We do that. They get paid, and they're back raising hogs again.
A lot of farmers don't have a population area if they wanted to direct market to sell into, and farmers shouldn't have to be marketers and direct sellers and go into farmers markets. And if farmers want to do that, then great. They should also just be able to be on the farm and get paid a fair price and be able to stay on the farm and pass it down to next generations. Now our goal on the MRCC side is not to have the cattle industry go the way of the hog industry. We lost 150,000 cattle operations in 5 years in the United States. That's bad signs, and that's because the same things we were arguing for in the 90s to save the hog industry, we're arguing for now to save the cattle industry. Yep, Jones Angus Farm.
Well, the way our grandfathers did that, they would farm in the daytime and truck at night. Most of our beef was sold through the St. Louis stockyards, the Kansas City stockyards, and they were brought in there, and there was great competition bidding on these animals. So a fair price was easier to get. Today, when you're talking about 3 packers, the competition's gone. Back then, we were talking about 300 packers. The competition was there. They want total control over these producers. It's easier to control a handful of producers than it is a lot of producers. Our numbers have dwindled so much. Without organizations like MRCC, our voice isn't heard. Isn't that pretty? All I can say is this: we are Missourians. We have to see it to believe it, to understand if it's going to be good for us and good for our community. We welcome that, but if it's not good, we're going to shine a light on you on every step that we take. And these are not good neighbors to have. They are mining the resources, not just our water and our clean air, but the financial end. They're hurting the ability of the next generation to be able to continue to own this land. As long as we have the ability and the health, we're going to continue to farm. We were raised to be able to help each other and to be able to provide food and services to our community to make them stronger and better.
When we bring people in the same room and talk about these issues, people from a wide array of political ideologies, when we talk about these issues, everybody's shaking their head yes. So we need decentralized ownership out here. We need a bunch of farmers on the land being stewards of the land. And that's also good for climate, good for sequestering carbon. It's good for water protection. It's good for air protection. It's good for community. It's good for economies. It's good for everything that we value. I like to say we're more than just great pork. It's pork with the fight back message.
It's really nice to not have to do everything yourself when you're trying to put together a farm-to-table restaurant. And so we're able to get hams and sausages, Canadian bacon, big raw pieces of meat that we can break down and do different things with. And being able to just call an order and bring that in and know that it's coming from a good family farm is one less step that we have to do working with a bunch of different pork producers. These independent family farms aren't doing it because they're getting rich. They're doing it because they're passionate about changing the way that people think about food, the way they interact with food, and the conversations that happen around food and good food. They want to see where it goes, and they want to see what the impact on the community is. That's really what keeps them going, really what keeps me going. And, working with Patchwork and all the other producers is what we're passionate about.